You keep pointing at Hollywood. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
You can't flip up on me because you're an inferior comedian. I'm going to destroy you, and I'm never going to call you out of your name. I'm never going to say anything disrespectful.
When does accountability finally catch up with you? Kevin Hart just dropped a bombshell that's got everyone questioning everything they thought they knew about Katt Williams. According to Kevin, Katt didn't just accidentally damage Wanda Smith's career during that infamous 2018 interview, he was allegedly compensated to do it. The same industry figures Katt constantly accuses Kevin of working with may have been signing Katt's checks all along. This revelation comes at the worst possible time for Katt, right after he made headlines apologizing to Michael Jackson's family for years of harsh jokes.
I shouldn't have, honestly. Some of these things are the reason that the enemy decides to go ahead and let you be famous.
That apology was supposed to show growth and accountability, but instead it opened a door Katt probably wishes he'd kept locked. Because if he can admit to taking money to criticize MJ for entertainment, what about all the other careers he's allegedly impacted along the way? The timing couldn't be worse for someone who spent years positioning himself as comedy's moral compass. Katt's December 2024 apology at the Vulture Festival shocked fans who've watched him consistently mock the king of pop for years. He admitted his jokes played into damaging narratives against black men and confessed he was essentially a paid participant in criticizing black icons. The regret in his voice was unmistakable as he said those three words that changed everything. I shouldn't have. He spoke about realizing that his comedy was being used as a weapon by people with agendas he didn't fully understand at the time. But this moment of supposed growth has backfired spectacularly, opening up questions about every controversial moment in his career. The internet has a long memory, and Katt's newfound accountability has people demanding answers about other careers he may have helped impact. Wanda Smith's name immediately rose to the top of that list, and Kevin Hart was ready with receipts. Kevin's not just throwing random accusations, he's pointing to a pattern that suggests Katt has been playing the exact same game he accuses others of playing. The irony is thick enough to cut with a knife, especially considering Katt's reputation as someone who calls out fake behavior in the industry. Kevin's accusations hit different because of the history between them. Katt spent his Club Shay Shay interview calling Kevin an industry insider and accusing him of taking opportunities from more deserving comedians, but now Kevin's flipping the script entirely. According to Kevin, Katt's the real insider, and the Wanda Smith incident proves it. Kevin claims Katt was following directions from higher-ups to systematically damage Wanda's career, and the evidence is hiding in plain sight for anyone willing to look. The beef between these two comedians runs deep, stemming from years of professional rivalry and personal disagreements about how black comedians should navigate Hollywood. Kevin didn't just make vague accusations either. He specifically called out Katt's behavior during the Wanda Smith interview as evidence of someone following orders rather than just being spontaneously mean. According to Kevin, the calculated nature of Katt's approach, the way he came prepared with personal information, and his refusal to back down even when things got uncomfortable, all pointed to someone with a mission beyond just entertainment. This wasn't comedy, this was business. The 2018 interview that changed everything started innocently enough. Katt was supposed to be celebrating his Emmy win for his work promoting Atlanta, and Wanda was excited to have him in the studio. She had prepared questions about his achievements and was looking forward to a positive conversation about black excellence in entertainment. What began as a simple 20-minute interview quickly became V1013's most watched clip of all time, but for all the wrong reasons. What viewers witnessed was a masterclass in professional conflict disguised as comedy, and it played out in real time on Atlanta radio.
I felt like as he started to talk in the beginning, he had an agenda to attack me, and I kept feeling some type of way.
The tension began when Katt started criticizing Tiffany Haddish, calling her an industry favorite with no original material who only got opportunities because of her willingness to play into certain stereotypes.
Did you think she wrote Girls Trip Goofball? Or do you think that was already a script and they handed it to her because she want to sleep with a white man?
He questioned her comedy credentials, her authenticity, and even her personal relationships. When Wanda tried to defend Tiffany, she painted a target on her own back. Katt immediately shifted his focus to Wanda, and what happened next was difficult to watch. He systematically challenged her credibility as an interviewer, made comments about her appearance, and turned her own audience against her in real time. But here's what makes Kevin's accusation so significant. Katt's approach wasn't spontaneous comedy, it was calculated and intense. He came prepared with personal information about Wanda. knew exactly which topics to pursue, and had responses ready for every attempt she made to redirect the conversation. This wasn't a comedian having fun. This was someone with a clear agenda. The way he methodically broke down every aspect of Wanda's professional credibility while maintaining a calm demeanor suggested someone who had planned this confrontation well in advance. The most telling moment came when Wanda asked about Katt's cooking skills for his kids, trying to lighten the mood and bring the interview back to friendly territory. Instead of taking the olive branch, Katt used it as ammunition.
I
Still
said, what are they
answering.
like?
Just because you're a poor interviewer doesn't mean.
I said, you answer the
Everybody
question.
know that Wanda got some lipstick on right now with enough glitter for the 4th of July 2020.
That's right. I do a really nice broccoli. They like my broccoli, and they love my baked chicken.
Hey,
And they
right now,
love-
look up your phone and see what it takes to make broccoli.
He called her interviewing skills poor, made personal comments about her appearance and lifestyle, and got everyone in the studio laughing at her expense. You can hear the exact moment Wanda realizes she's not in a friendly interview anymore. She's in a career-damaging situation that's spiraling completely out of her control. What's particularly cruel about that moment is how Katt used Wanda's attempt at kindness against her. She was genuinely trying to connect with him as a father and find common ground, but he turned her good intentions into a weapon to humiliate her further. The audience's laughter at her expense became another tool in Katt's arsenal, proving that he understood exactly how to manipulate the situation for maximum impact. This wasn't accidental, it was strategic. The interview continued to deteriorate as Katt made increasingly personal attacks while maintaining the facade of just being a funny comedian. He criticized everything from Wanda's cooking abilities to her professional competence, all while the radio station staff laughed along. Wanda found herself in an impossible position: defend herself and look unprofessional, or take the abuse and appear weak. Katt had engineered a no-win scenario, and he executed it with the precision of someone who had done this before. What happened after the camera stopped rolling proves Kevin's point about this being bigger than just comedy disagreement. The confrontation in the parking lot with Wanda's husband allegedly became heated, with reports of a weapon being present, but the footage was mysteriously edited to make Wanda's family look unstable. Katt never fully cooperated with authorities and left the scene, allowing Wanda to deal with the fallout alone. This wasn't the behavior of someone who was just defending themselves. This was someone who had support waiting in the wings.
They tried to kill me with a real. I'm losing my life for participating in something that goes along with my job.
The parking lot incident raises even more questions about Katt's true motivations that day. If he was just a comedian who got carried away during an interview, why didn't he stick around to clear the air? Why was the footage edited in a way that made Wanda's husband look like the aggressor? Who had the power to influence how that story was told in the media? These questions point to a level of coordination that goes far beyond a simple comedy beef gone wrong. Wanda tried to explain her side of the story, revealing how uncomfortable and unprepared she was for Katt's aggressive approach. She spoke about having respect for him and not wanting the interview to go in that direction, but Katt kept pushing boundaries she had clearly established. Her explanation fell on deaf ears because by then, the narrative was already set. Wanda was labeled as the interviewer who got what she deserved, and that label followed her until the day she passed away. The internet had already decided who was right and who was wrong, and Wanda never had a real chance to recover from that damage. In her follow-up interviews, Wanda revealed that she had been in a positive mindset that morning, planning to do charity work after the interview. She wasn't looking for conflict or drama, she was excited to celebrate Katt's achievements. But Katt came in with a different energy entirely, one that felt hostile from the very beginning. She described feeling like he had an agenda against her personally, which aligns perfectly with Kevin Hart's accusations about Katt being paid to target specific people. The lasting impact on Wanda's career wasn't accidental, it was systematic. She eventually left V1013, became difficult to employ in radio, and her reputation never recovered. Other radio stations were hesitant to hire someone who had been so publicly humiliated, and the comedy community largely turned their backs on her. Even after her passing, people remembered her primarily as the woman who had that intense exchange with Katt Williams, rather than celebrating her decades of contributions to Atlanta media. That's not the natural consequence of a comedy roast gone wrong, that's the result of a coordinated reputation campaign. The professional damage extended beyond just her radio career. Wanda found herself blacklisted from comedy events, unable to book certain venues, and facing constant ridicule online. Every time she tried to move forward professionally, someone would bring up the Katt Williams interview as evidence that she couldn't handle the heat. The incident became a scarlet letter that followed her everywhere she went in the entertainment industry. Katt's recent attempts to justify the interview prove he's still not taking real accountability. In 2024, he claimed Wanda broke pre-interview agreements about not discussing his personal life, but the footage shows him escalating every exchange and bringing up personal topics first. He painted himself as the victim of an ambush while conveniently ignoring how he turned a celebration interview into a public confrontation. He even blamed Wanda for her own career troubles, claiming she made inappropriate comments and that certain communities got her removed from her position. But Katt's version of events doesn't match what actually happened on tape. The footage clearly shows him initiating personal attacks, bringing up sensitive topics, and pushing boundaries that Wanda had tried to maintain. His claim that she violated pre-interview agreements falls apart when you watch him systematically tear apart her professional credibility without provocation. If there were agreements in place, Katt was the one who violated them first and most severely. The community is waking up to what really happened. Social media threads and online posts are calling out Katt's behavior as straight-up workplace harassment disguised as comedy. People are recognizing that Wanda was in an impossible position, criticized if she fought back, damaged if she didn't. The power dynamic was never equal, and Katt used his platform to systematically challenge someone who showed him nothing but respect. Reddit users are sharing stories of similar experiences in their own workplaces, drawing parallels between Katt's tactics and patterns of professional bullying they've witnessed or experienced themselves. Young comedians and media personalities are now using the Wanda Smith incident as a case study in how power can be abused in entertainment settings. They're analyzing Katt's techniques and warning others about similar tactics they might face in their own careers. The conversation has evolved from just being about one bad interview to becoming a broader discussion about accountability and professional conduct in the comedy world. The silence from Katt's camp since Kevin's accusations speaks volumes. No statements, no rebuttals, no attempts to clear his name. Just radio silence while the internet connects the dots between his MJ apology and his treatment of Wanda Smith. If he can admit to taking money to mock Michael Jackson, why can't he address the allegations about Wanda? The answer might be that there's too much truth in Kevin's accusations to safely deny them. His legal team has probably advised him that any response could open him up to further scrutiny or potential legal action. What makes this even more challenging for Katt is the timing. He spent years positioning himself as the truth teller of comedy, the guy who calls out industry insiders and gatekeepers. He built his brand on being the comedian who wasn't afraid to speak truth to power and expose the fake behavior of his peers. But if Kevin's right, Katt was working with those same gatekeepers all along. The righteous anger, the accusations against other comedians, the victim complex. It was all projection from someone doing exactly what he accused others of doing. The Wanda Smith controversy isn't going away, and Katt's continued silence is making him look more responsible by the day. People are demanding an apology to Wanda's family, and some are even calling for professional consequences. The comedian who built his recent comeback on exposing other people's secrets is now facing demands for accountability about his own alleged business practices. Comedy clubs are being pressured to address the situation, and some venues are reconsidering their relationships with Katt entirely. Industry insiders are also starting to speak up about similar incidents they've witnessed or heard about involving Katt Williams. Stories are emerging about other interviews and appearances where Katt allegedly went too far, suggesting a pattern of behavior rather than isolated incidents. These revelations are painting a picture of someone who may have been systematically targeting people for reasons beyond just comedy or personal beef. This situation perfectly illustrates the difference between accountability and selectivity. Katt can apologize to Michael Jackson's family because MJ isn't here to respond, and it costs him nothing to show remorse for jokes about someone who's been gone for over a decade. But apologizing to Wanda Smith's family would mean admitting he damaged a living person's career for compensation, and that admission could open doors to professional and legal consequences he's not ready to face. It would also validate Kevin Hart's accusations and potentially expose other similar situations that haven't come to light yet. The entertainment industry has a long history of using performers to compete against each other, creating artificial feuds and conflicts that generate publicity and profit for the companies involved. Katt Williams might be the perfect example of how that system works, with comedians being pitted against each other while the real decision-makers profit from the chaos. He positioned himself as the outsider fighting the machine while allegedly being one of the machine's most effective participants. The irony is significant. the man who claimed to expose industry favorites may have been the biggest insider of all. Whether Katt Williams will finally take full accountability for his role in Wanda Smith's career challenges remains to be seen, but his silence in the face of mounting evidence and public pressure suggests he's more interested in protecting himself than making things right. The question isn't whether he owes Wanda's family an apology, it's whether he has the courage to give one. Because until he does, Kevin Hart's accusations will continue to hang over every future project, every interview, and every attempt at redemption Katt tries to make. The comedy community is watching, the media is paying attention, and Wanda Smith's legacy deserves better than being remembered primarily as Katt Williams' victim. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss any of the other celebrity gossip. Thanks for watching.